What is it like to be the fuck up in the family? This right here, I don't wanna say I was the favorite child, but I was much less work raised than my sister. I often felt like my parents gave her more attention than me when growing up, but I've only recently just realized the reason for that was because she needed it a lot more than I did. Since that realization, my resentment turned into empathy. Lately I have been wondering how important material status things even matter after hearing someone talk. They basically said you won't be able to take any of the stuff here with you except for memories and experiences. I really believe that might be true. Love, people, good times, and memories, they all do seem like the real treasures in life. Hey, do not ever, for any reason, compare yourself to others. You are you and you are capable of incredible things. It doesn't matter what anyone is doing or what anyone else has. A studio apartment is great, even a great goal. When you compare it to a mansion in a gated community, of course you're going to feel bad about yourself, but that isn't very reasonable, is it? Focus on you only. Black sheeps are worth more, friend. Yeah, my older sister has always been better than me at almost everything. She has straight A's and is very sporty. She is also very pretty and has had multiple boyfriends. It was especially hard in school because teachers who have had her in the past know that she is an amazing student, so they expect the same from me. They always seem so disappointed when all I get are B's and C's, which aren't even that bad. This is how I am. When things are going to shit and I talk to my mom, everything's great. Didn't get the job after the interview, everything's great. Drank too much, had a breakdown, got real close to suicide, and got put on a psych hold, everything's great. I cannot comprehend being open and honest about how I'm really doing. It seems so foreign when I meet people who can have these types of relationships with their parents. I'm not now, but I was for a while. Every Thanksgiving dinner I felt like I was being court-martialed, or sitting before a religious inquisition. It is truly humiliating to sit before your family and have every accomplishment your siblings have made waggled before your face and then have them all turn to face you so they can judge, validate your actions over the year. Sister 1. Well, I finished my nursing course, and I'm now the lead nurse at a prominent assisted care center here in town. Sister 2. I got my teaching degree and now I'm doing my dream job working at the school I always wanted. Mother, I myself took a few courses so I could learn all this new tech coming out. All turned to look at me. I didn't die? Honestly, it's not so bad. I made some dumb decisions when I was young, and sometimes unfortunate circumstances exacerbated my situation. I've always been poor, never owned a home, got divorced young and just kind of muddled through. Meanwhile, one brother joined the Air Force and went to Yale Law School, and the other started his own business. My cousins are all wealthy. It ended up being okay. I'll never pay off my student loans before I retire, and still have no degree. But now, at 50, I have a decent job, a happy second marriage, and a great adult child who will have a degree and own a home before I do. I now just let the criticism roll off me, and I'm a genuinely content person. Edit typo. I am the black sheep of my family. I grew up very fortunate and with every opportunity, yet I started experimenting with drugs in my teens, and by my mid-20s I was a full-fledged addict. My family didn't want anything to do with me, especially after I racked up several felonies and went to prison twice, and I can't say I blame them. Now I'm 33. I'm still on parole and paying the price both figuratively and literally, but I'm trying. I've been clean for almost 3 years and my family still, and I suspect will always, have their doubts and worries about me, but they're trying to. My dad proved to me we are even at a point where we can even joke about some of it. He did this when he bought an almost life-size black sheep statue and put it in his garden so I wouldn't be the only one in the family. So what's it like, being the family fuck-up, you ask? If you're still fucking up, however that may be, then obviously it's terrible for everyone. You are probably hurting your family much more than you realize. When I was done fucking up, I found out just how much my family loves me. I hope this can be true for others and that it's not too late. I'm not the family #CK up, my dad has that honor, but I am a walking dirty secret to my family. My dad abused me, emotionally, physically, and sexually, from 4 to 23 years old. Because of the trauma I went through, I developed multiple mental illnesses and my life hasn't progressed or developed as an adult's life should. My family is embarrassed that I was abused and they are ashamed of me because of my stunted life and mental illnesses. In a weird way, I sort of am the family #CK up, but not really. I just feel like I am at times. It's easier after 40 years. I've also learned to say no, give less fucks and implement boundaries, and this has been fundamental in improving my mental health where my family is concerned. Surprisingly, because I'm mentally stronger and enforce my strength with them, I've trained them to act differently with me. We still have our moments and I guess I'll always be the black sheep, but I've accepted that and it's made my life much easier. Genuinely caring less about it and not seeking their approval anymore is also helpful. Not the fuck up per se, but everyone else in my family is a genius and I'm just dumb, at least by comparison. My grandparents, parents, aunts and uncles, and siblings all went to Harvard or MIT, except for one uncle who was the black sheep because he went to Yale Law, and are seriously smart people, like Rhodes Scholars, physics professors, published authors, and all this other crazy super genius stuff. I just went to my state school and am a middle school teacher. I love my job and life, but sometimes I feel a bit inferior. It's weird how different families consider different things to be bad. My family is full of people that didn't go to any university. I'm one of the few who did, but I'm the fuck up because that degree didn't get me anywhere and I'm just a poverty-stricken ball of mental illness, while all of my siblings are around lower middle class, which is considered successful for our family, though my brother and his wife were travel agents up till the pandemic and now they are struggling a bit. Fucking stop, dude. You've broken the chain. You did what you wanted to do, instead you're expected to do. Just think for a bit. What would have happened if you had went to an Ivy League? Would you have fit in? Would you have been happy? Probably not. You would have stuck out like a sore thumb because you would have been unhappy with your surroundings. You won. You basically started your OWN trend of life path that your own family, should you choose to start one, could decide to uphold or break on their own. You discovered your own win condition and found something to be happy about without putting up with the bullshit that is higher education and/or Ivy League nonsense. Write your high score on the wall and wait for someone with enough quarters and patience to beat yours. Congrats, dude. It's a feeling of extreme shame, freedom, and bitter anger. My mother was a narcissist, and just a proudly evil person. She regretted having me, and purposefully instilled a sense of inferiority into my mind from a very young age. Meanwhile, she loved my sister as the favorite. She never got hit, but I did. There was no subtlety about it, and I often hate her because she have at least pretended to like me, but apparently that was just too damned hard. So I'm older, single, with no strong sense of self, and I don't make much money. I fear everything I touch will become tainted, and that the world deserves better than me, so I don't try. I know things aren't that bad, but I just can't register self-worth, so my life is stagnant. I fucked up by not trying, because I think that I failed before trying, so what's the use? If you don't think you will love your children, don't have them. I'm the black sheep of my family. I don't consider myself a fuck up, but my family makes me feel like that sometimes. It's really hard seeing my parents fawn over my sister. They let her get away with anything while they kept me on a tight leash. They give her so much stuff. She got to go to after-school programs and clubs. They take her out for food. They constantly talk to her. While I had to wear the same bra for years, I never had enough sock or underwear and they were full of holes. I would have to wear ill-fitting shoes. They don't even say hi to me most days. My other sis has it bad too, but at least her and our mom have a relationship. My father has told me to my face he doesn't care about me. He says I'm too lazy to do anything. I don't know where all their animosity for me came from. It started when the golden child was born. The moment she came into the world, I remember my parents just ignoring me. They pretty much swept me under the rug and pretend I didn't exist. Then over the years it grew into hatred. I don't hate my sis, though she is actually very nice and sees the issues in our family. It's almost funny actually. I'm rebuilding an RV. I'm an artist who is really close to opening an online business to sell my art. I can play a few instruments. I'm very smart when it comes to animal science and space science. I've always held down a job. I bought my own car. They recently just got my sis her own car. They still consider me a loser, but it's okay. When I'm done with my RV, I'm getting the fuck out and never looking back. Sorry for the lengthy post. It was really nice getting that off my chest. I really appreciate you asking this question, and I hope whatever situation you're in get better. It sounds like you have the right attitude. Leave and don't ever look back. Your parents just don't sound like great people. It's crazy when you realize that your parents are human and in some cases, like yours and mine, not the greatest people. What really sucks is when you have friends that have awesome parents, and in many cases the children just take their parents for granted. Of course it couldn't go any other way. I'm sorry you had to experience a childhood like that. You never do anything right, ever. Got a day off from work? It's because you suck at your job and they cut your hours because you're bad, not because it's the normal schedule fluctuations of retail. Offer to help out? It's because you want something, not because you're being nice. Not talking, you're being solid. Too happy? You're on drugs. Can't do laundry right. You're either adding too much or too little soap, the wrong load size. I'm trying to save water here. Can't cook anything right, either too much heat, too much salt, it's my fucking food, too little carbs. Gotta have pasta, rice or potatoes with every fucking meal. No wonder I grew up fat. Mom, God forbid I add an ingredient she doesn't like to a dish she will never taste. Mention that I want to move out. It's because you hate her and want to abandon her, not because she makes you want to kill yourself. You take out too many student loans. Great advice, Mom, and get a shitty degree that's fucking useless. Get into a car accident that fucks up your head and body to the point that life is pain, and end up as the 35-year-old loser who still lives at home. I relate to a lot of what you typed. It's tough making it in some areas, to the point where it's just not financially feasible to move out, and we have to deal with the poor self-image resulting from society's expectations. I got kicked out of college for bad grades. Had to go back home with my head down and try to raise my grades to get back in. Life doesn't go in a straight line, though. I then got into a car accident and had to put a pause on my education. I heard from my family that the doctors and car impound people were all surprised I was still living. It sounds like your injuries were more severe than mine, and I fractured my neck. C2, broke multiple places in my face and snapped my kneecap in half. It sucks that you're in pain. Still, I worked in retail, too. Once I healed up, a lot of people have worked retail. It's a good way to connect with others. Use it to your advantage if you ever find yourself in an interview with someone who also has retail experience. Being able to deal with demanding people in high volume is a nice ability to have. It translates to a lot of roles, and more so in big companies. I went back to school after getting laid off, finished my final stint at the college that kicked me out, and went job hunting. This was while living with an opinionated stepfather who enjoys making people feel bad about their mistakes. Sometimes, you just gotta move out for the sake of your sanity. I wouldn't put too much weight on what your mother may be saying about your thoughts of moving out. She'll adapt to the change, and you can always still see each other or call. You also don't even have to talk to her. I don't know your relationship, but I know some people choose to burn the bridge instead. I'm going to move out soon. I just put a deposit on an apartment after landing a new job. Years of job hunting and getting rejected felt like I was doing go-backs with my resume. Now it feels like things are finally moving forward for me. Good luck. and keep on trying to move forward if that's what it takes to find peace. Well, to be honest, I don't know if my family considers me that way, but I'm 16 and my sister's 18. She's going into medical science with extremely high grades from her GCSEs. Don't get me wrong, I'm very proud of her, and I'm going to music college with somewhat decent GCSE grades. It's what I've wanted to do since I was 4, and I get support in it from my parents, but I can't help feeling like they wanted better from me. I'd love to be a famous musician. Now I think about it, there's a bit of a humorous side to me being the failure of the family, but sometimes I think about it and it hits hard. I love my parents, and I hope what I'm doing with my life is worth it, otherwise I'm definitely the family failure. Creating is incredibly difficult compared to the rote memorization required by medical science. Not everyone can do it, especially music. You and your sister have different talents, but music is really the soul of humanity and possibly the original foundation for spoken language. Your career choice can save just as many lives as your sister's. We've all had especially shitty days made better by finding solace in music. She might operate on hearts eventually, but you will definitely uplift them. This was me for a while in my early 20s. 19, I was drafted in the MLB draft, and handed a well into the six figures signing bonus. 20, Tommy John surgery. 21, a second TJ, and baseball was over. My parents are just about the most responsible people you'll ever meet, just genuinely good people. My brother the same. Baby bro always knew what he wanted to do with his life, and he did it. I had no idea after baseball. It was the plan. I spent most of my early 20s living the beach bum life, blew through $150,000 over a 2-year span, hit the nightlife hard and often. My friends were getting married, having kids, buying houses. Others were making millions of dollars playing a game. I was working a job I hated, out having one-night stands as often as possible, drunk the majority of my time. My family was just genuinely disappointed. I woke up one morning, next to somebody I didn't know, and just thought, WTF am I doing with my life? Looking back at it, I was just flat out depressed over losing something I had worked towards since I was 5. 15 years of work down the drain with a couple throws. I quit my job, took every penny I had saved, and started a business. Not the greatest feeling, especially since I never meant to be. To me it feels like everyone else are just doing the right thing, and are really great at a lot of things they do, often becoming recognized by others around us for it, and known for having certain skills or qualities. On the other hand, I just kinda exist. And I'm not nearly as skilled, nor do I possess any great qualities. It almost feels like I'm out of place and shouldn't be in this house. I tend to be a bit more distant than my other family members. Apart from that, it feels normal. By now they've gotten used to this fact that I have my own way of doing things. As the actor, musician who smokes, drinks and does things my conservative Christian family won't dare to speak of, it's always a bit strange at family gatherings. On the other hand, my uncle already prepped them for accepting different ways by being gay, so there's little excuse for being shocked anymore. I just added a little extra spice to our family tree. I have accepted it now more than I used to. I'm a mix of runt, least loved, and fuck up. My parents always say they love both kids equally, but any problem I have is pushed out the way. My dad has a really high-paying job, so he wants me to be just like him, but I don't. I'm stuck in a bad friendship where they only tell jokes. In my mom's word, I'm not normal. I walk weird, stand and make weird movements. I'm always left out of conversations, so I watch TV and play video games. I live in a neighborhood with elders and live far away from friends. I can't maintain long projects. I don't get to vent often. For me, I just try to keep scraping by. Yes, that was a In the Heights reference. When I was growing up, I was often treated by my family as the fuck up. My sister took great joy in rubbing this into my face every chance she got. Growing up it sucked. Even as a teenager it continued. I applied at every place that was hiring and couldn't get an interview. My sister fills out one application and gets the fucking job. I end up in such a bad place in my early 20s that I go on a job interview and the hiring manager looks at me and says you are unhearable. When I asked why he did the interview he said because you needed to know that you were unhearable.